78, Rescue 264. Respond for an unknown medical, possible food poisoning. RP is calling from the market. She's indicating that her friend had eaten at a nearby restaurant and suddenly became ill.
On our way. On the way. On the way. On our way. Consider it done. Listening. On our way. On the way. Listening. Will do. On our way. On the way. What's up? On the way. On the way. Immediately. What's up? On the way. Listening. On our way. On the way. What's up? On the way. On our way. On the way. What's up? On the way. On the way. Yeah. What's up? On the way. What's up? Listening. On our way. On our way. Yeah, on the way. On the way. No problem. Yeah. On the way. Yeah. Consider it done. Understood. Listening. Listening. On the way. No problem. Yeah, on the way. Got it. What's up? On our way. Staffing work. Yeah. Will do. On the way. Yeah. On our way. On the way. Listening. Understood. Starting work. On our way. Listening. Starting work. On the way. What's up? Will be done immediately. On our way. Listening. Understood. Listening. Understood. Yeah. On our way. my way. Listening. Understood. Yeah, on my way. On my way. Yeah, on our way. Will be done immediately. Will be done immediately. What's up? On our way. Will be done immediately. On our way. On our way. Listening. Will do. Yeah, on my way. Will be done immediately. On my way. Consider it done. Yeah. On my way. On our way. Understood. On my way. Listening. On my way. On my way. Listening. On my way. Listening. Will be done immediately. On my way. On my way. Listening. Yeah. Yeah, on my way. What's up? On my way. What's up? On my way. Listening. On our way. Understood. On my way. Yeah. Listening. On my way. On my way. Listening. On my way. On our way. Listening. On my way. Listening. Yeah. What's up? Will be done immediately. Yeah? Yeah? On our way. What's up? Consider it done. Understood. Yeah? Will be done immediately. On my way. Yeah? On my way. Listening. On our way. Yeah? On the way. On the way. Yeah, will be done immediately. On our way. What's up? On the way. Immediately. What's up? On our way. On the way. Listening. On the way. On the way. What's up? Listening. What's up? On my way. Listening. On our way. What's up? On our way. On the way. What's up? Understood. What's up? On our way. On the way. On our way. Yeah? On the way. Will be done immediately. On our way. Yeah? On the way. What's up? Understood. On the way. Listening. On the way. What's up? Listening. I'm on it. On the way. On our way. On the way. Understood. What's up? Consider it done.
Units, respond for a 488. RP is calling from his business where he witnessed the subject putting merchandise in his pocket. The subject has left the business and is on foot, heading southbound. No weapons, no description.
Yeah? On our way. What's up? Listening. Yes. On my way. Got it. On our way. Listening. On the way. On the way. Listening. Understood. On our way. What's up? No problem. What's up? Confirming. Listening. On my way. Yeah, got it. On our way. Listening. Yes, sir. I'm on it. Listening. Yeah, will do. Got it. Yes. What's up? Consider it done. Yes, sir. Listening. I'm on it.
Attention all units. We have reports of a man with a gun. Several RPs have indicated that they see a subject, unknown description, with a gun and he's firing shots at passing vehicles. Units also be advised that we're getting reports of shots fired in that area. All units break and cover, fire, and rescue will stage. Be advised that we have Air 32 responding.
Listening. Confirming. Listening. I'm on it. Yeah. Yeah. What's up? On the way. On the way. What's up?
Engine 9, 11, Squad 57, Rescue 257. Respond for a multiple vehicle accident with multiple subjects trapped. Be advised that MCU is also responding and PD is responding as well.
On our way. On the way. On the way. On the way. What's up?
Engine 9, Engine 77, Engine 78, Truck 64, Battalion 209. Respond for a structure fire possibly caused by an electrical appliance. Be advised there are injuries.
Understood. What's up? Yeah? What's up? On the way. What's up? Consider it done. Okay. Listening. On my way. On our way. What's up? On our way. On our way.
Engine 77, rescue 78. Respond for an unknown medical. RP says that she sees the subject lying face down. We're advising PD.
On my way. Understood. Listening. Got it. Listening. Immediately. On my way. Listening. On my way. On my way. Let's go. What's up?
Oh.
On my way. On our way.
Yeah?
Oh.
On my way. I'm on it.
Listening. Will be done immediately. On my way.
Engine 9, 11, Squad 57, Rescue 257. Respond for a multiple vehicle accident with multiple subjects trapped. Be advised that MCU is also responding and PD is responding as well. Units, respond for a 488. RP is calling from his business where he witnessed the subject putting merchandise in his pocket. The subject has left the business and is on foot, heading southbound. No weapons, no description. Engine 77, Rescue 78. Respond for an unknown medical. RP says that she sees a subject lying face down. We're advising PD.
On my way.
11, rescue 12. Respond for a possible heart attack. RP indicates the subject is lying down and is clutching his chest.
Das Gebäude ist verschlossen. Wir müssen die Tür mit einer Axt aufbrechen.
On my way.
Immediately. Got it. Okay. What's up? Yeah? On my way. On my way. I'm on it. Listening. Consider it done.
What's up? On my way. Yeah? I'm on it.
Yeah? On our way. Listening.
Oh.
On our way. On the way.
What's up? Let's go.
Listening. Will do.
On our way.
Listening.
Attention all units. Respond
On
for
the way.
a 415 fight involving
Yeah?
several subjects.
Roger.
We have no description on any of the subjects and no word on weapons or injuries. Be advised that fire medical will stage.
On the way. What's up? Will be done immediately.
Will be done immediately.
Yeah? On my way.
Roger. What's up?
Attention all units. We have reports of a man with a gun. Several RPs have indicated that they see a subject unknown description with a gun and he's firing shots at passing
On
vehicles.
our way.
Units also be advised that we're getting reports of shots fired in that area.
Yes, sir.
All
On our
units
way.
break and cover, fire and rescue will stage. Be advised that
Be
we
done
have
immediately.
On the way. On the way. On the way.
Yeah? On my way. Listening. Yeah? Listening. On our way.
What's up? Will be done immediately. On the way. On our way.
compliance. Be advised there are injuries.
On the way. On our way. Listening. On our way. On the way. Yeah. On our way. On the way. Listening. On the way. Listening. On the way. On the way. Yeah. On the way. No problem. Yeah. On our way. Yeah. Understood. Yeah. On the way. On the way. No problem. Yeah. On the way. Listening. On the way. No problem. Understood. Listening. On the way. Consider it done. On our way. Consider it done. Listening. On our way. Yeah, on the way. Got it. Listening. On the way. Got it. Understood. What's up? Consider it done. Understood.
Engine 9, Rescue 209. Respond for an unknown medical. RP says that she saw a
On
subject
our way.
suddenly fall to the ground.
Listening. Got it. On the way. On our way.
Yeah? Let's go!
What's up? On the way. On the way. Listening. Starting work. What's up? On the way. On the way. Listening. Will be done immediately. I'm on it. What's up? Consider it done. On our way. What's up? I'm on
Attention all
it.
units, respond for a 211 strong arm.
On the
Suspect
way.
is still in the area and on foot. We have no
Yes, sir.
weapons or description. The
On
victim
my way.
is refusing an ambulance. We'll advise Air 32.
On our way.
Yeah?
On the way.
Listening, Roger!
Yeah. Immediately. On the way. What's up? I'm on it. Listening. On our way. I'm on it.
Attention all units. Respond for a 415 fight involving several subjects. We have no description on any of the subjects and no word on weapons or injuries. Be advised that fire medical will stage. Engine 77, Rescue 78. Respond for an unknown medical. RP says that she sees a subject lying face down. We're advising PD.
On my way. On my way.
What's up? Will do. What's up? On our way.
I'm on it. Will do.
Yeah?
Engine 78, Rescue 264. Respond for an unknown medical, possible food poisoning. RP is calling from the market. She's indicating that her friend had eaten at a nearby restaurant and suddenly became ill.
Listening.
On my way. On our way. On my way. On my way. On our way.
Consider it done.
Listening. On our way. Yeah. Will be done immediately. On our way. Yeah. Will be done immediately. Understood. What's up? On our way. Yeah, on the way. Consider it done. Yeah, on the way. Listening. Will be done immediately. Listening. Will be done immediately. On the way. On the way. Listening. Yeah? Understood. Listening. No problem. On our way. Listening. On the way. What's up? On the way. Listening. On the way. What's up? Okay. On the way. Yeah. Okay. On our way.
What's up? Let's go! What's up? On my way.
Let's go.
Yeah?
I'm on it. Listening. Yes. Listening. Yeah. Consider it listening. I'm on it. Okay. What's up? Will do. What's up? On the way. Will do. On our way. What's up? I'm on it. On our way. On our way.
This will be done immediately.
Yeah, on the way. No problem. What's up? On the way. On our way.
Listening. Let's go.
Listening. Listening.
On the way. What's up? Yeah. Listening. On the way. Yeah. What's up? Will do. I'm on it. Listening. On our way. On the way. What's up? On the way. Yeah. No problem. Yeah. On the way. On our way. Listening. On the way. Listening. On our way. No problem. Understood. Yeah. Will do. Consider it done. On our way. Listening. On the way. On the way. What's up? Listening. On our way.
This will be done immediately. Yeah? On our way.
On our way. Yeah. On our way. Yeah. On our way. On the way. What's up? On the way. On the way. On the way. On the way. On the way.